We have exclusive new details tonight about what's going on inside of the Dallas County Juvenile Detention Center.
Yeah, WFAA has been investigating these issues for months now, and tonight a new report sheds light on staff members' potential crimes.
Here's senior crime and justice reporter Rebecca Lopez.
Since May, WFAA has been telling you about unsanitary conditions and juveniles being secluded for long periods of time without getting out of their jail cells at the Dallas County Juvenile Detention Center. There have been numerous complaints from juveniles, their parents, staff, and county commissioners.
I made it very clear that there were kids being held in isolation. We had proceedings in front of the Commissioner's Court again and again saying that this is happening.
A whistleblower told us staff and teachers were falsifying documents to show that juveniles were getting out of their cells for function time, including going to class and recreation time, when in fact that wasn't happening.
The majority of the times these kids are up, for 3 or 4 days straight, and it's just very, very sad to see these kids are being neglected like that. There's days where they don't even shower at times just because, there's no staff.
We asked Judge Cheryl Shannon, who heads the juvenile board that governs the detention center, about concerns back in May. This is what she told us.
I can tell you that I am seeing youth moving out of their sleeping quarters for hours in the day. They're getting their showers. Functioning time can include the hour that they have showers. Some of it will involve when they're receiving their education.
But a 100-page report released in October and obtained exclusively by WFAA tells a different story. According to the report, evidence showed juveniles were confined within their rooms up to 24 hours a day for multiple days at a time without basic program requirements. County commissioners have been battling the juvenile board and the detention department to obtain observation sheets showing how long juveniles were in their cells and if they were going to class. They refused to release those records and sued.
So when there was the immediate lawsuit against the Commissioner's Court to stop us from getting the observation sheets, that told me that people who knew about those observation sheets at juvenile didn't want them to be seen.
The OIG report goes into detail about how those records were being falsified and at times went missing. The OIG investigator said the facility lost the observation sheets and he was told they no longer existed. The facility was missing observation sheets for 176 of the 191 juveniles for multiple dates and shifts. Again, back in May, we asked Judge Shannon about the allegation.
I can tell you that, by state law, we're required to maintain records. The Texas Juvenile Justice Department looks at those records, looks at that information. To say it's been destroyed and it's gone, I don't believe that.
County Commissioner Andy Summerman and County Judge Clay Jenkins say they've been pushing Judge Shannon and the board to be more transparent, but were met with resistance.
And I think that if we had obtained those very early on, we would have seen either one of two things, that there was substantiation to the fact that kids were being left in isolation or that records were being altered.
By law, juveniles are supposed to be out of their cells for 10 hours a day, and they're supposed to attend class. But the report says some teachers allegedly falsified records to show juveniles were attending classes when in fact they were locked inside their room. All of this was happening for years under the noses of the juvenile board and the leadership at the juvenile detention facility. It wasn't until there was public outcry after our reports in May that Judge Shannon asked the director, Daryl Beatty, and the assistant director to resign.
The OIG report does indicate that there was falsification of various records. I should not comment on criminal prosecutions, but if someone is guilty of those crimes, they should be prosecuted.
He says he was
At a recent board meeting, Judge Shannon gave a PowerPoint defending the board and its actions, saying as soon as she learned of allegations from the media a year and a half ago, she asked investigators to step in.
My instruction to Mr. Beatty when I received this was to make sure that that allegation was sent to TJJD.
And she took issue with media reports and critics of the board and those who are running the center.
There's been a lot of conversation and a lot of disparaging about people personally. This never should have been personal. This was always a dispute about a process.
And that process continues. There are ongoing criminal investigations that could ultimately lead to prosecutions. In Dallas, I'm Rebecca Lopez.
We sent emails and called Judge Cheryl Shannon's office for comment, but did not receive a response.